Age car underscore name underscore model 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster. Cream white exterior, dulled and faded from years of neglect, weathered chrome trim with patches of rust, cracked glass, worn tires partially sunk into soft dirt, body panel showing dust, scratches, and aged paint, interior visible through dusty windows, showing aged and tattered upholstery. Visual underscore description. Wide static shot capturing the abandoned roadster nestled in a quiet junkyard, surrounded by overgrown weeds, scattered scrap metal and debris, soft diffused ambient light filtering through dusty air, subtle reflections on worn chrome. Tactile textures of rust, dirt, and cracked paint emphasized. Atmospheric feel of quiet abandonment and hidden discovery. Muted color palette with earthy and cream tones. Camera underscore details 35 50 mm lens for cinematic framing, tripod mounted static shot, 16:9 aspect ratio, high resolution capture for 8 seconds, moderate depth of field keeping car in focus while softly blurring junkyard background, static composition emphasizing isolation and abandoned atmosphere. Lighting underscore details, soft, diffused, natural light, neutral, cool tones enhancing dusty, neglected textures, gentle highlights on dulled paint and rusted chrome, soft shadows adding depth and dimensionality, calm ambient lighting, maintaining ASMR style focus on tactile surfaces. Action underscore description car remains stationary in junkyard, subtle dust particles floating in air, micro reflections on worn metal and faded paint. ASMR. Style emphasis on visual texture and abandoned aesthetic, serene cinematic focus on neglect and hidden beauty. Environment underscore details, quiet junkyard with scattered debris, overgrown weeds, and muted earthy tones. Still air allowing dust and particles to linger, subtle background hints of other abandoned vehicles and scrap, creating a cinematic, atmospheric, and isolated environment. 8 underscore second underscore clip underscore intent introduced the 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster in its abandoned state, emphasizing dulled cream paint, weathered textures, quiet junkyard atmosphere, tactile rust and dirt surfaces, and SMR style cinematic immersion into forgotten automotive history. People, Il, car on name Unco model 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster, cream white exterior with heavy dust accumulation, aged chrome Buick emblem partially obscured by dirt, weather trim with fine scratches, oxidized metal edges, faded paint showing, subtle discoloration from years of exposure, visual Unco description, macro cinematic close-up focusing tightly on the Buick emblem mounted on the front grille, thick dust coating the badge and surrounding chrome, a gloved hand slowly brushing across the surface, dust lifting in soft clouds, emblem gradually revealed beneath, fine particles floating through the air, catching soft light, tactile textures of metal, dust, and glow fibers clearly visible. Shallow depth of field isolating the emblem from blurred background. Camera underscore details 100 mm macro lens, static tripod shot, extremely shallow. Depth of field to isolate emblem, 16:9 aspect ratio, ultra high resolution capture, focus pull from dusty surface to clean revealed emblem, slow deliberate framing designed for 8-second SMR pacing. Lighting underscore details, soft side lighting from frame left, creating gentle highlights on chrome edges. Warm diffused glow illuminating floating dust particles. Subtle shadows enhancing embossed Buick lettering. Low contrast lighting to maintain calm atmospheric tone, no harsh reflections. Action underscore description. Gloved hand gently sweeps brush across emblem in slow controlled strokes, dust loosening and drifting downward, emblem surface gradually becoming visible and reflective, micro scratching sounds implied from soft bristles, ASMR style, tactile motion, emphasizing care and restoration detail, environment underscore details, outdoor junkyard setting implied through blurred background, muted earthy tones, still morning air allowing dust to hover, distant silhouettes of scrap metal and weeds softly out of focus, quiet, abandoned atmosphere surrounding the car. 8 underscore second underscore clip underscore intent. Reveal the hidden Buick emblem beneath layers of dust, focusing on gentle brushing motion, floating dust, particles, and tactile metal textures, evoking nostalgia and rediscovery through calm SMR style cinematic macro detail. Asian car underscore name underscore model Buick XP-300 Roadster. Cream white exterior heavily weathered, cracked headlight lenses with spiderweb fractures, rust flakes forming along fender, edges and door seams, oxidized chrome trim, brittle rubber seals, aged body panels showing corrosion and peeling paint. Visual underscore description, cinematic close up sequence focusing on the cracked headlight glass, followed by rust flakes falling from the fender as a hand lightly touches the surface. Then transitioning to the slow opening of the driver's side door, hinge visibly corroded, panel edges trembling slightly, tactile textures of rust, cracked glass, and worn metal emphasized, shallow depth of field isolating each detail while background junkyard elements remain softly blurred. Camera underscore details 85 100 mm lens for intimate detail shots, slow controlled micro pans between headlight, rusted fender, and door hinge, tripod stabilized movement. 16:9 aspect ratio, ultra high resolution capture for 8 seconds, gentle focus pulls highlighting each texture, lighting underscore details, soft, natural daylight diffused through light cloud cover, cool neutral tones accentuating aged surfaces, subtle highlights catching on cracked glass edges and rust particles, gentle shadows forming inside door gaps, calm low contrast lighting preserving ASMR atmosphere. Action underscore description finger lightly taps cracked headlight glass, producing subtle vibration. Rust flakes crumble and fall as surface is touched. Door slowly opens with a soft metallic creak, fragile panel flexing slightly. ASMR style emphasis on delicate mechanical sounds and tactile interactions. Environment underscore details quiet. Abandoned junkyard environment with blurred scrap metal piles and weeds in background. Still air allowing rust dust to fall naturally. Muted earthy color palette reinforcing aged and forgotten setting. Distant ambient silence. 8 underscore second underscore clip underscore intent. Communicate the passage of time through fragile details, highlighting cracked headlights, falling rust, and creaking door movement, evoking nostalgia and decay with as MR style focus on subtle mechanical sounds and tactile textures. Asian car underscore name underscore model 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster, cream white exterior, interior heavily neglected with thick dust layers, cobwebs stretched across seat frames, dashboard, and corners, brittle upholstery foam exposed, stained carpet, oxidized metal bolts and screws visible throughout cabin. Visual underscore description. Cinematic interior shot slowly revealing the dusty cabin, cobwebs clinging to seat edges and dashboard vents, close ups of rusted bolts and screws being loosened, labels attached to removed parts, soft dust clouds rising with each movement, tactile textures of fabric, foam, metal, and dirt clearly visible, shallow depth of field isolating hands and hardware while background fades softly. Camera underscore details 50, 85 mm lens, slow handheld or gimbal movement pushing into the cabin, controlled micro pans across dashboard and seats, 16:9 aspect ratio, ultra high resolution capture for 8 seconds, gentle focus pulls between bolts, labels, and dusty surfaces to emphasize detail. Lighting underscore details, soft natural light entering through side windows, warm highlights illuminating floating dust particles, subtle shadows forming inside footwells and under seats, low contrast diffuse lighting maintaining calm as more atmosphere, no harsh reflections. Action underscore description, gloved hands. Slowly undo bolts and screws with ratchet and screwdriver. Gentle clicking sounds implied. Parts carefully removed and placed on labeled cloth. cobwebs brushed aside, surfaces lightly wiped. ASMA style focus on methodical disassembly and tactile mechanical interaction. Environment details interior of abandoned car inside quiet workshop, faint ambient echo, still air allowing dust to drift slowly, muted earthy and cream tones, scattered tools visible in blurred background, organized workbench nearby with labeled containers. 8 underscore second underscore clip underscore intent show careful interior tear down process emphasizing dust cobwebs slow bolt removal part labeling and surface preparation creating a calm as mr style cinematic moment focused on precision and respect for the vehicle's history. Pigeon car underscore name underscore model 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster cream white exterior partially stripped to bare metal, rusted panels along doors, fenders, and floor sections, exposed steel surfaces showing raw texture after corrosion removal, surrounding trim removed for restoration access. Visual underscore description cinematic macro and close up sequence showing wire brush scraping rust from body, panels, fine orange flakes falling away, grinder smoothing corroded metal with soft sparks drifting downward, bare steel gradually revealed beneath, followed by a slow spray of light gray primer mist coating the exposed surface evenly, tactile textures of raw metal, dust, and fine primer particles clearly visible, shallow depth of field isolating the restoration area while workshop background remains softly blurred. Camera underscore details 85 100 mm macro lens for rust removal details, slow controlled camera movement tracking brush strokes and grinder passes, tripod stabilized micro pans 16 times 9. Aspect ratio ultra high resolution capture, gentle focus pulls from rust flakes to newly revealed metal and fresh primer layer. Lighting underscore details, soft overhead workshop lighting with neutral tone, subtle warm highlights reflecting off bare metal, gentle shadows under hand tools and panel edges. Diffused light enhancing texture visibility without harsh glare, calm ASMR friendly illumination. Action underscore description wire brush scrapes across rusted surface in slow rhythmic strokes. Grinder glides gently to smooth metal producing soft sparks. Dust and rust particles drift downward. Spray gun releases a fine mist of primer evenly across panel. ASMR style focus on tactile motions, mechanical sounds and controlled application. Environment underscore details indoor workshop with tool racks and benches blurred in background, faint ambient echo, still air allowing particles to float momentarily, muted industrial color palette of steel, gray primer, and cream paint residue, organized restoration setting. 8 on second or clip intent show the transformation from corrosion to clean metal, emphasizing rust removal, grinder smoothing, and gentle primer application, creating a calm as smart style. Moment focused on preparation and rebirth of the vehicle surface. H in car on model 1951 Buick XP-300 Roadster. Original engine block aged and darkened with oil residue, corroded bowls, oxidized valve covers, pistons showing carbon buildup, metal surfaces dulled from years of inactivity. Visual underscore description. Cinematic medium to close sequence showing the engine being slowly lifted by a chain hoist from the engine bay, still chains taut and slightly vibrating, followed by close ups of gloved hands unscrewing rusted bolts, ratchet turning in slow controlled movements, pistons being gently lifted from cylinders and placed onto a clean cloth, oil stained metal surfaces catching soft light, fine grime visible in grooves, shallow depth of field isolating each mechanical step while the workshop background remains softly blurred. Camera underscore details 50 85 mm lens for intimate mechanical detail slow vertical tilt following the engine rising tripod stabilized micro pans across bolt removal and piston extraction 16:9 aspect ratio ultra high resolution capture for 8 seconds subtle focus pulls shifting from tools to engine components lighting underscore details soft overhead workshop lighting with warm neutral tones gentle highlights reflecting off metal edges and piston crowns, subtle shadows forming inside engine bay and under lifted block, diffused illumination enhancing texture without harsh glare, calm SMR atmosphere. Action underscore description engine is carefully hoisted upward, chains creaking softly, mechanic slowly loosens bolts